For a recent recognition that I'm going to be talking about here in a second, there were 2 public schools in Alachua County named for Confederate leaders. Now there's only 1. According to the Equal Justice Initiative, there are 240 schools in 17 states in the United States named for Confederate leaders. In Florida, in Duval County alone, there are 6. You got to do better than that, Jax. Welcome to Episode 2 of Tale from the Crypt, my little cross-blending of FPAN Cemetery Resource Protection Training, or Crypt Training, and the Materialists podcast. I am Nigel Rudolph, Public Archaeology Coordinator at FPAN Central, and we are here again at Mount Pleasant Cemetery here in Gainesville. Mount Pleasant was established around 1883, 1885. Wonderful African-American cemetery loaded with really awesome characters and really cool stories. And today, our episode is going to be featuring Carolyn Beatrice Parker. Carolyn Beatrice Parker, born November 18th, the day before my birthday, 1917, and passed away in 1966. Introducing Carolyn Parker. As I'm getting started here, I wanted to first recognize the J.J. Finley Elementary School Renaming Committee for their well-researched submission to the Alachua County School Board. Callie Blunt, the late Patricia Hilliard Nunn, historian Karen Kirkman, Dr. Peggy McDonald, and Dr. Paul Ortiz, among many others, who put together a very helpful document and were successful in their efforts in getting the name of J.J. Finley Elementary renamed in honor of Carolyn Parker. Carolyn Parker was born in Gainesville in 1917. Her father, Dr. Julius A. Parker, was a physician and a graduate of Meharry Medical College, the first medical school in the South for African Americans. He was also the first African American to receive a Ph.D. from Harvard Business School. Gainesville has not always been the political blue dot in the sea of red as it is today. The Gainesville of 1917 was a highly segregated southern town subjected to the racist Jim Crow laws. Jim Crow laws were state and local laws designed to enforce racial segregation in the southern United States. Beginning in the late 19th century by white Southern Democrat-dominated state legislatures, Jim Crow was designed to disenfranchise and remove political and economic gains made by African Americans during Reconstruction. Jim Crow laws were enforced until 1965. Just a quick aside here, and as I mentioned in my previous videos, the political orientation of the Democratic and Republican parties have basically flip-flopped. Though both parties helped prop up white supremacy during the late 1800s and early 1900s, the Democratic Party of the time was the overtly white supremacist party. The Parker family relocated to Tampa for Carolyn and her siblings to attend public schools. She graduated from the segregated Middleton High School in 1933. During the same year, her younger sister, Gloria E. Parker, passed away at the age of 9 in Tampa. Gloria is also buried at Mount Pleasant Cemetery here in Gainesville. After leaving Tampa, Carolyn moved on to Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, where she graduated top of her class with a bachelor's degree in physics in 1938. It is believed that she then relocated back to Gainesville to teach at Lincoln High School sometime between 1938 and 1940. Another quick aside here, Lincoln High School was a public high school for African American students here in Gainesville and only the second accredited African American public school in the state of Florida. Founded during segregation in 1923, it is now called the A. Quinn Jones Center, named for the first principal and well-known African American educator here in Gainesville. It replaced Union Academy, which was founded in 1866 as a Freedmen's Bureau school during Reconstruction. In 1941, Carolyn Parker either completed a master's degree in physics or mathematics from the University of Michigan. There are contradicting documents, but as my primary source document states, she received her master's degree in physics. Needless to say, she was one of the first, if not the first, African-American woman to receive this degree from the University of Michigan. At the start of World War II, while Carolyn was in her 20s, she enlisted, as did millions of Americans, in the fight against fascism. She was able to put her advanced mathematic and scientific skills to work after she was recruited to work as a research scientist in the Dayton Project, a division of the Manhattan Project. For those of you not familiar with the Manhattan Project, it was a code name given to an American-led effort to develop the first nuclear weapons during World War II, with assistance from the United Kingdom and Canada between 1942 and 1946. Under the Dayton Project, Parker was tasked with, quote, separating and purifying the radioactive element polonium, which was to be used as an initiator for atomic bombs. For scientists working at the security level of Parker and her colleagues and throughout the different divisions of the Manhattan Project, they were all working under the assumption that their efforts were geared towards building a deterrent to Nazi nuclear development. In their document submitted to the Alachua County School Board, the renaming committee referenced Richard Rhodes' book, The Making of the Atomic Bomb, that 99.9% of the scientists and researchers, including Parker and Albert Einstein, could not have known they were engaged in an effort to build an A-bomb that would be dropped on Japan. Quote, the leading Manhattan Project scientists were shocked when they discovered how and where the bombs were going to be deployed by President Truman. Scores of top scientists based in Chicago signed a statement urging against using the bombs against Imperial Japan. Following the end of World War II, Miss Parker continued her work in Dayton, Ohio until 1947. She then joined the faculty at Fisk University in Nashville in 1947 as an assistant professor in physics. Following this position, she moved on to work as a physicist in Geophysics Research Division at the Air Force Cambridge Research Center in Cambridge, Massachusetts. In 1951, she started the physics graduate program at MIT, and in 1953, she completed her second master's degree in physics. Though she completed her coursework towards her PhD, she was never able to defend her doctoral dissertation. Carolyn Beatrice Parker was diagnosed with leukemia and died in 1966 at the age of 48. According to the book Black Women Scientists in the United States by Wini Warren, the Parker family believes her leukemia was directly related to occupational polonium exposure. In the year 2000, Bill Clinton signed into law the Energy Employees Occupational Illness Compensation Program, which was designed to compensate individuals who worked in nuclear weapons production and, as a result of occupational exposures, contracted certain illnesses, leukemia included. To quote again the renaming committee document, quote, Miss Carolyn Parker did her patriotic duty in helping the United States win the war using her brilliant scientific talents and analysis. In doing so, she had to overcome a significant amount of racism and sexism by white male scientists. The people of the United States, and certainly Gainesville, owe Miss Carolyn Parker a great debt of gratitude for making the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. In August of 2020, the Alachua County School Board voted unanimously in favor of changing the name of J.J. Finley Elementary School to Carolyn Beatrice Parker Elementary. And before I leave here, one quick note on Carolyn Parker's headstone itself. Her inscription is framed with roses. A rose by itself often symbolizes love, hope, and beauty, while a frame or wreath of roses can represent beauty or virtue. The roses on her headstone seem to be in partial bloom, which could represent a life cut short. These are beautiful engravings on a lovely marble marker, and on my next visit to the cemetery, I plan to give her marker a gentle scrub and clean it up, keep it clean of lichen and mold, just to protect it and keep it looking nice. Thanks so much for joining me talking about Carolyn B. Parker today. What's really interesting about Carolyn is her great-grandmother, Jemima Wilson, is actually buried just about 25 meters that way behind the camera. And she was born in Charleston, South Carolina in 1815. So as you can see, there's this wall around this little enclosure. This is a family enclosure, but Carolyn B. Parker's great-grandmother is in another family enclosure that direction. And if you recall from episode 1, Matthew M. Louie, he's about 25 meters behind me. So just a reminder about these small historic cemeteries is they're loaded with stories. These people all had lives. Their existence isn't just carved letters on tombstones now, right? They had stories, and so that's what we dig into on Tale from the Crypt. Big thanks to FPAN. If you'd like more information on FPAN, please go to fpan.us. Huge thank you to the University of South Florida Department of Anthropology. Huge thank you to historian Karen Kirkman of the historic Hale Homestead. Karen helps me out on a lot of this research and with a lot of my crazy projects. And a huge thank you to the J.J. Finley Renaming Committee for their well-researched submission to the Alachua County School Board for the renaming of J.J. Finley in honor of Carolyn Beatrice Parker. More episodes to come. Give me the thumbs up, like, follow, ding the bell so you can get updates about when I've submitted new episodes. There's more episodes to come of the Materialist podcast. And we'll catch y'all on the flippity flip.